After reaching incredible speed, Flash is transported to a parallel planet Earth, where he joins a team of superheroes to face powerful threats. Today we'll be recapping the story of the 2021 movie, Justice Society, World War II. During World War II, the President of the United States receives alarming information that the Germans have advanced considerably in Europe and are in search of magical artifacts. In light of this, Colonel Steve suggests the formation of the Justice Society of America, or JSA, a team composed of superhumans to combat the advance of enemies. The man then points out Rex Tyler, a renowned scientist who has developed a substance called Miraclo, capable of boosting his strength and speed for an hour. In addition to the Hour Man, he nominates Dinah, who when utilizing her ultrasonic abilities is known as the Black Canary. There is also Jay Garrick or Flash, and Carter Hall, an ancient Egyptian in his fourth reincarnation, called Hawkman. In addition, Steve suggests Diana as captain of the group, better known as Wonder Woman. In a modern city, Barry Allen uses his incredible speed to fetch snacks for his picnic with his girlfriend. However, Iris is hurt because her partner does not want to enter into a serious relationship with her, in order to protect her from his enemies. Suddenly, the couple is interrupted by the sound of an explosion coming from the city, so Barry leaves his beloved alone to check out what's going on. In the center of Metropolis, Superman receives a blow so powerful that it destroys the wall of a building on impact, frightening civilians around the site. Then a bizarre android named Brainiac directs several robots to attack the hero, who protects himself by delivering powerful blows and activating his heat vision. Still, the enemies manage to capture him. Suddenly, Flash appears and throws the android away with his kick, and then goes to attack the mini-robots, but ends up being shocked and thrown away. Getting up, Barry throws a rock and hits one of the enemies, allowing Superman to break free using only one arm. As the heroes talk, Brainiac fires a laser at Flash, who quickly deflects it. In the face of this, Clark goes up to the man, but is hit hard. To improve his chances of winning the fight, the android intends to fire a kryptonite projectile, which weakens Superman instantly, causing him to lose his strength. At that instant, Brainiac calculates that his success rate has increased to 99% against the heroes. As the evil robot prepares to activate its special weapon, Barry emerges and his partner confesses that kryptonite is the only thing capable of hurting him. Quickly, the projectile is launched and Flash runs so fast that he manages to channel the Speed Force without meaning to. This causes him to enter some sort of space in time, where he follows the voice of a stranger to find the exit. During World War II, some soldiers are surprised when a tank flies through the air in their direction. Afterward, Wonder Woman emerges from the rubble, being greeted by gunfire, which she easily deflects with her bracelets. The heroine then advances against the Germans, defeating them with ease. However, she notices the presence of more enemies hiding in the surrounding buildings, who start shooting at her. Quickly, Diana scales the buildings to take them on one by one. In another building, the Germans prepare a much more powerful weapon, which is about to hit the woman, but she identifies the location and destroys the equipment. Hawkman appears to help her, but Diana orders him to go elsewhere. Suddenly, she is surprised when lightning bolts appear from a portal in front of her, hurling Barry into the rubble outside the portal. Before the two can identify themselves, soldiers appear firing at them. In the face of this, Wonder Woman leaves the strange man in Dinah's care, while he has no idea what is going on. Suddenly, Barry hears distress calls and runs off to check, so he comes across German soldiers holding innocent people hostage. Quickly, the hero uses his powers to attack them one by one. In a strange way, he loses his breath too easily, but the rest of the Justice Society appears to help him. Then Barry admits that he's probably in the past, telling the JSA that he's a man from the future. As the group discusses the bizarre idea, an explosion erupts in a nearby location, drawing everyone's attention. Suddenly, an airplane comes firing at the heroes, but is quickly shot down. The person responsible for the shots was Steve, who appears in another plane. However, the colonel's aircraft is hit by the enemy, putting his life in danger. At that moment, Hawkman flies there to rescue him. Barry calculates that the hero will not be fast enough to reach the plane, which falls faster and faster. So the man runs frantically to the scene. However, he realizes that his powers are weak, so Jay helps him provoke a tornado by moving his hands, so they can prevent the plane from suffering an extreme impact. Diana then decides to split up the group to continue the mission. She, Rex and Jay will go on the ground, while Carter and Dinah take care of the soldiers in the sky. Barry, however, won't do anything as it could compromise their timeline, so Steve is tasked with looking after the man. The superheroes admit that they prefer not to reveal their identities, as the head of the Germans might discover their weaknesses and use that against them. Afterward, Hawkeye fights enemies in the sky, and is aided by Dinah, who takes down planes with her ultrasonic power. However, she is in danger and Jay comes to her rescue, stealing the soldiers' ammunition seconds before they reload their weapons, which he also steals soon after. Next, it's Rex's turn to show his strength by taking down a battle tank with his bare hands. The team captain also steps up, destroying tanks and guns with ease. Soon after, they decide to call Barry, Future Boy, who is introduced to the team's war correspondent, named Shakespeare, who looks somewhat familiar to the newbie. Just then, Steve appears holding a bouquet of flowers and a diamond ring, which he uses to propose to Wonder Woman, but she ignores him and leaves the scene with her flowers. In fact, the Colonel makes the request every day, and Diana always says no to him. Even so, the man does not lose hope of winning her over. During a meeting, the team believes that Future Boy could fight alongside them in this war, given that the explanation for Barry's journey is a paradox, suggesting that he can no longer return home or alter the future. After that, Steve entrusts the group with a top-secret mission, in which they must decipher a crucial code, with the help of a man with mystical abilities. However, he is known to be eccentric and unpredictable. During the mission, the team is watching a German castle through the forest, but they believe it is not possible to sneak into the place. Diana decides that the group must communicate in Morse code through their eavesdroppers. Soon after, Barry and Wonder Woman enter the fortress with much noise. As they walk through the corridors, they hear a terrifying scream coming from deep within. Quickly, Diana identifies Steve's codes and rushes to find him. Meanwhile, the other duo find themselves cornered because Rex can't ingest the Miraclo, since it's been less than 24 hours since he used it. Faced with this, Jay goes after the soldiers, throwing tables and chairs at them, even though his powers have diminished after Barry emerged. On the other hand, Dinah and Carter enter a quiet place, where they hear a bizarre sound coming from inside an iron door. After Diana and Barry find Steve, the three come across a room filled with bizarre devices designed to injure prisoners, such as iron chains and cages shaped like a body. During the investigation, Shakespeare breaks into several cells, where he finds people in a deplorable state. In another room, the man comes across a young man, who confesses he is waiting for him and hands him a package that packs something with the Kryptonian symbol. The young man then confesses that someone told him that Shakespeare would know what to do with the package. However, just as the war correspondent is about to question the young man, a German soldier suddenly appears and shoots the man several times, who quickly recovers. Diana emerges and takes down the enemy with one blow. Soon after, everyone realizes that the bullets that hit Shakespeare have bent after hitting him. Meanwhile, Dinah and Hawkeye try to break down the iron door, and Jay appears with Rex to help them, so they manage to enter the room. Inside, the heroes come across a guy in a deplorable state and Carter recognizes him from another life, but the man has completely changed. They then hand the code to the subject, who lowers his head. Suddenly, a glow emerges from his hands and rises to his eyes, which shoot lights across the room. Meanwhile, Shakespeare admits that his real name is Clark Kent. At this point, the Future Boy asks if he followed him into the past. However, the man confesses that he is not a hero, but he can help get the prisoners out of the fortress safely. Faced with this, Barry realizes that he is not in the past, but on a different planet Earth. So he shoots off towards Jay to tell him the news. In the other room, lights start drawing coordinates, indicating the location of the Bermuda Triangle. Then the man says he's not ready yet, even though he's already received the package. Upon arriving at the cell, Barry recognizes the subject as the man who appeared before him during the trip, better known as Lord Fate, who confesses to the Future Boy that he will be able to return to his Earth, but there is still a task that he must fulfill in that place. The guy starts talking to himself, saying he can't talk about the League, after which he reveals to Hawkman that he's going to see a special woman and that the group should hurry. At the same moment, the man disappears, leaving only an oddly shaped light in his place. Soon after, the heroes make their way to the Bermuda Triangle via submarine. Along the way, they are surprised by 3 German ships, which seem not to have noticed the team. However, bombs are dropped on the Allied submarine, which cause several openings in the hull and cause the vehicle to become unstable. Quickly, Barry fixes everything before something worse happens. However, the submarine's engines are also affected. Faced with this situation, Future Boy has the idea to use his powers to generate electricity and give the vehicle's engine a boost. After that, Wonder Woman uses a torpedo exit to get out of the submarine. Outside, she begins to collect the bombs and drop them on the German ships. Even so, the site is still littered with explosives, and a few blasts surprise Diana, who finds 2 bizarre men helping her. The subjects then point to the location that the JSA is searching. Upon returning to the submarine, Wonder Woman warns her colleagues that they have received help from aquatic men. Soon after, the team discovers that the coordinates point to a checkpoint of the people of Atlantis, where they are led to King Arthur, leader of the nation and all the oceans, known as Aquaman. Quickly, Diana introduces herself and admits that the people of Earth need help as the Germans could destroy several nations at any time, not just on dry land. After revealing their plans, everyone on the team is taken to a room. Suddenly, the room is sealed off by a containment barrier, and the JSA learns that Atlantis is already on the enemy side. In fact, they had sent the code themselves in order to capture the group of heroes. However, Arthur is uncertain about betrayal, but his advisor encourages him to finish off the Allies, and then the Germans, until they destroy every nation on Earth. At the same time, the Flash discusses their powers and Jay remembers that one day he was able to vibrate the molecules in his body fast enough to go through the ground. Faced with this situation, he teaches Barry, who easily crosses into a room full of enemies, but he manages to defeat them skillfully. Future Boy then disables the barrier and frees his team. In addition, he discovers that the enemies are planning a surprise attack on the United States, and that Aquaman is in a moat nearby. The group splits up again, and Diana drives the Atlanta vehicle, while Barry finds a device on site, capable of designing a pressure-proof aquatic suit. On the other hand, the rest of the team returns to the JSA submarine, freeing the other companions. At the same time, the King's advisor demands that he use his trident to release something that is trapped inside the Golden Door, as if he is controlling Arthur's mind. Suddenly, Aquaman makes a move with his weapon and lights begin to emerge from the object, however he is stopped by Barry. Soon after, Diana also appears and attacks the counselor. At the same moment, the counselor puts his hands on Wonder Woman's head and tries to exert some kind of control over her. Meanwhile, Barry is thrown from side to side by Arthur, who briefly realizes that there is something wrong with his mind. However, he is surprised by Diana, who hits him full on. After this, the king recovers, but the woman continues to advance on him, so he throws her away, causing a hole in the rocks with the impact. Then the Golden Door begins to open, and something huge manifests in front of Arthur, who is grabbed by huge tentacles alongside his advisor. In the United States, citizens are surprised by the sudden attack of fishmen. The monsters destroy everything with ease, until Dinah appears and delivers several ultrasonic blows to them. After the woman attacks, Hawkman also appears, as well as Jay, who uses various explosives to slow down the enemies. Rex takes on the men, while Steve fires away with his gun. The Colonel then hacks into one of his opponent's vehicles and uses the cannon to defeat the fishmen. Out at sea, a giant stingray appears and quickly flies into town, where it destroys Steve's vehicle with ease. Also, on one of the piers the citizens spot something giant moving in the water. Suddenly, King Arthur and his assistant appear on top of a huge monster. Soon after, Aquaman is ordered by his advisor to destroy all civilization in front of him, so the bizarre creature advances with its tentacles, as well as other monsters that emerge from the sea. In the city, Dinah goes after the big guy, launching ultrasonic attacks on him, but this only provokes him to attack even more. In this way, the tentacles of the monster advance against the woman, who jumps through the air dodging. However, she is struck by a blow and plummets to the ground, but Hawkman rescues her in time, preventing a fatal fall. As the two recover from the scare, the giant stingray hits Carter with its stinger, causing the heroes to fall from the sky. Still, the man tries to cushion Dinah's fall by getting underneath her. On his deathbed, Hawkman makes one last request to his friend: that she live intensely, because that's what really matters in the end. In this way, the heroine cries desperately for her companion, even knowing that he will be reincarnated again. At that moment, her tears are interrupted when the enemies appear, so the woman turns them to dust with her power. At the same time, Jay destroys several opponents while being chased by a giant creature, which makes him swerve through buildings quickly, yet the monster continues to pursue him. Meanwhile, Diana appears on the beach and charges at Aquaman, knocking him away. In the city, Rex continues his attack and crushes several enemies with his uncanny strength. However, the hero is surrounded by the monsters, who hit him, causing him to fall to the ground. At the same moment, the fishmen are hit by shots fired by Steve, who emerges to help his wounded friend. Meanwhile, several explosions occur due to the attacks Diana receives from Arthur. Still, she manages to fight back and dodge him, knocking him to the ground and pressing his head against the ground. Despite this, Aquaman breaks free and goes at her again. Wonder Woman then throws a punch so hard that the wall behind the king breaks, causing him to fall outside the building. Diana continues to attack, but the man strikes back by holding the girl's face against the ground. Then he strikes her with his trident, which narrowly misses her, but causes a small scratch on her face. Meanwhile, Steve watches the fight and is desperate to help his beloved. At the same time, Dinah fights the monster that eliminated her friend, so she releases an ultrasonic super scream, which causes the creature's skin to shatter bit by bit. After that, the heroine loses her strength. As Jay flees the giant crab, he takes the opportunity to steal his opponent's explosives. With precision, he throws them inside the monster, which ends up being blown up from the inside out. On the other hand, Diana tries to stop Aquaman from hurting her, then is surprised by Steve, who emerges in a car, running over the enemy. Then the Colonel tells his beloved to recover, that he will face Arthur. Soon after, he sets out to attack the Fishman by firing his gun, but the king holds him by the neck and immobilizes him on the ground. Quickly, Aquaman wields his trident to hit Steve, saying that a fight of gods is no place for an ordinary human being. However, Wonder Woman's bracelet appears and prevents the fatal blow. At the same moment, she throws a punch that knocks the king away. In addition, Diana holds the trident, but Arthur manages to pull her to him through the command of the object. Faced with this situation, the woman breaks the magical object in half. Soon after, the glow in Aquaman's eyes disappears, which makes him realize he was being controlled to do horrible things. Suddenly, he is grabbed by the giant creature, who takes him back to the sea. The king's advisor appears and mentions that the JSA cannot stop the German leader's reign. Then more ships start to approach and he uses the Broken Merman to strike Steve severely. Before he can deliver the final blow, Future Boy appears and pushes him against the building. The Colonel then asks Barry to move on, leaving the man bleeding on the ground. Spotting dozens of aircraft approaching across the sky, the team finds itself cornered. However, the ships suddenly begin to be destroyed one by one. Soon after, they realize that the responsible is Clark, who is dressed as Superman, attacking the enemies with powerful punches, which makes the ships explode. Upon landing on the ground, the man admits that he decided to come out of the darkness and take on his role as a hero. However, they are interrupted when the captain realizes that Steve is not well at all. At that moment, the Colonel asks for his beloved's hand one last time. However, the moment he tries to put the ring on, his life slips away, and Diana regrets not accepting the proposal earlier. Afterward, the JSA says goodbye to Future Boy, but is still tasked with one last mission, which is to find Aquaman's advisor. Just then, Wonder Woman hands Barry her engagement ring, believing he won't make the same mistake she did. Then, Future Boy and Jay quickly rush to channel the Speed Force, returning the young man to the battle against Brainiac on his Earth. In the face of this, Flash throws the kryptonite bullet in the direction of the android, hitting him full on, which leaves Clark confused. Soon after, Barry suggests to Superman that they form a team of heroes, as there will always be villains to fight. Barry returns to the picnic with Iris and comments that he has been in the past for a week, while on his real Earth not a second has passed. He then decides to propose to his beloved, using the ring he got as a gift, and she happily accepts.